And yeah, sup, we're live. Sup, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Code Unlocked. I got my guest Sam Watts. Sam, what's up, dude?
What's up? How are you?
Good, brother. How you doing today?
Good, good.
You're off Sundays?
This
Or-
is just Sunday I had off.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Right on, man. Yeah, so we have Sam here. Well, I'll just let you introduce yourself. Tell listeners who you are, a little background. You don't have to go like super in detail, but you know
Cool.
whatever you want to share, just to get it going.
Yeah. Sam. I met Cody at Double Edge. Started going back there probably like 5 or so months now. Grew up Northern Nevada, grew up in Minden, Garnerville, moved to Reno about 5 years ago. I'm a firefighter down in Minden. Yeah. So just live in Reno now, live with my girlfriend and our dog, and yeah,
Right
it's
on.
kind of a little
How
quick
long?
story.
So you said back to Double Edge. How long did you go there before going
I went
back?
probably I'd say 4 years ago. I went for almost a year, and then I stopped going, and then so it had
Okay.
been about 3 years until I came back.
What made you stop?
I was dating a girl at the time who was
Oh
not
shit.
happy that I was at the this gym that I had. There was another girl in the past. I went there, so it was just like this. She wasn't happy about it, so I'm like, all right, I'll
Uh,
just stop going, quit with the drama. So
um, you started at Midtown, or you only been to Midtown?
only been to Midtown, yeah.
Who who was your coaches or coach back then?
When I first was there, it was Wes and Leo.
Okay.
So
What time did you like work out
uh,
or?
it was kind of like what I do now. Like I'd go in the mornings with Leo sometimes, and then if I had stuff going on during the day, I'd do the afternoons with Wes.
Right on. And then
Yeah.
what? So you went for a year, quit for 3 years.
hmm
What made you come back, and why 3 years?
Um, Honestly, like after I left, I think I fell back into that comfortability of just going to a normal gym and kind of like what you talked about when you did your episode 2 about yourself. Like
Yeah.
once you stop having something that's challenging and you get back to a normal routine at a normal gym, you're like, oh, this is easy. I'll just keep doing this. I'll keep doing this.
Totally. Yeah.
And then what kind of made me start again was so when I got hired at the fire department, I only weighed like 130 pounds. And so 3 years what goes by, right? I do our annual physical, and she's like, "Hey, you've gained like 30 pounds." And she's like, "I'm not saying it's all bad, but like you're not gaining like pure muscle mass." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I started just paying attention to how I was performing at work. And I was like, I need to make a change and get fitter and healthier because what I'm doing right now isn't helping.
Right.
It's hard for I think the general person to go into the gym and really just like punish themselves for an hour. Whereas with CrossFit, like I don't have a choice. Once
It's
I'm
true.
there, like I can't tell you like, no, I don't want to do this today. It's like I'm doing exactly what you tell me to do. And there's 16 other people in class you're competing against. So it makes you push a lot harder.
Right on. Yeah, that's yeah, exactly how I felt too. Like you said, like you're comfortable doing the easy shit, or like, oh, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. But really, I mean, that's what I felt was like it was just me being a little bitch,
Yeah.
and right, like it was just your way of saying like, oh, I want to do my own thing, but really you're like, no, just easy, and I'm
Mhm.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's good. Did like so okay, going to so you gained 30 pounds.
hmm
Um, so you went from 130 to 160, you mean,
Yep.
ish?
Yeah.
And what did you notice in the weight change, like with performance, or like did you feel like shit, or like what were the key points there?
Well, I think like a lot of it came together, right? Like it was almost like you take five pieces of a puzzle and you put them all together, right? So, like flashback, let's call it 2018 to like summer 2019, right? I'm 20 years old. I'm at the fire department, so I'm not drinking. Like I'm still pretty young. I never was a big dude growing up. I've always been really small. So then like I turned 21, I do the 21-year-old thing where you're boozing every single night you can with your friends. And I didn't know how to cook that well. My coworkers were trying to teach me how to cook, but I'd come home and like, no, I think a DiGiorno works, or, I'll just
Same, dude. Same.
go
Yeah.
get Jack in the Box. And so I had, more alcohol intake, shitty diet, didn't understand, drinking water was important. And so, when I started just going to the gym regularly, not doing CrossFit, I had all this stuff compiling, and I felt myself getting stronger in certain lifts, like my bench press was going up and like my squats were going up, but my cardio was terrible, you
Yeah.
know. And when you're eating like shit and you're drinking and you're not drinking water and you're not doing really any like aerobic training, it doesn't help you, right? So
Hmm.
I just kind of noticed like when you're in the academy, you're going balls to the wall every day. Like it's not easy, you know. And then I worked on a few different crews where I felt like maybe we weren't training as much as we should be, and so it just kind of made me feel like a slug. And so like we would do stuff, and I'm like, oh, I feel way stronger throwing this ladder. But when they're like, hey, we need you guys to run stairs in your gear, I'm like, holy shit, I'm smoked right now, you
Yeah.
know. And then it's like the typical person who gains weight. Like I'll never forget. So in the summers, we wear a certain kind of pants that you can wear on like normal duty and you can wear on a wildland fire. And then we have our normal station pants. Well, I went to wear my normal station pants last year and like they would not fit. Like I couldn't get them
Oh,
to
fuck.
button.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, and I had gone from like a size small t-shirt to a small or a size medium. And I was like, well, like kind of like my guts getting bigger, but like I'm filling out, like my shoulders are bigger, my chest bigger, but I was just trying to hide it, right? You
For
know?
sure. Yep.
And so that was like a super big deal to me where I was like, wow, like I feel like shit. I'm not performing as well as I should be. I'm having to buy bigger clothes. Like I need to make a change right now, you know?
Okay. So it's just kind of like a chain reaction of different things and feeling like shit and just kind of knowing deep down that, you got to make a change.
100%.
So
Yeah.
like, so you woke up the next day, or you're like, all right, next week I'm gonna go back to double edge, or like, did you
Yes.
plan it out?
So I had just started dating the girl I'm dating now,
Hmm.
and she's awesome. And I remember like sitting there with her one day, and I like got back from the gym, and I was talking to her, and I'm like, I was like, I actually used to do CrossFit, and she was giving me shit, like most
Of
people do.
course. Yeah.
Oh, that's a red flag. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, it was the best shit I'd ever been in. I'm like, I felt great, and she's like, well, go back. I'm like,
Right on.
you think it would help, And she's like, I don't know, but you're not gonna know unless you try. And so, yeah, I remember like that we had that conversation, and then the next day I woke up and I'm like, I'm gonna drive down there, and that's when I met you,
Hmm.
and it was uncomfortable. I was expecting to walk in and see Wes, and I'm like, oh, I don't know this Cody guy, but all
Yeah.
right.
Right.
And then, I joined you guys. I went straight to Anytime Fitness and canceled my membership there, and
Right on.
I basically just bought in again, and I'm like, I know that I have to do this, or if I'm not, committed and I don't stay very stern on myself, then I'll just fall off the wagon again.
Yeah. Right on. And you're paying, 189 is like that commitment, and that can kind of help you a little bit. Like, fuck, I'm paying this much money. I better show up and
Yeah,
commit.
exactly.
Um, Dude, I've got so many like thoughts and questions. So, well, number one is, what a total fucking opposite from your current girl now, and can encouraging you to go and go do it, versus no, you can't go to that gym because whatever the drama was, all
Yeah,
the bullshit. So that's cool, right?
yeah.
Um, and then secondly, or I guess not secondly, I guess that was just like an off thought. So going back a little bit, you're from Minden. Um, you're a firefighter. Okay, so let's start from the Minden thing. Do you know, like, because there's a lot of, not maybe not a lot, a couple people that are from Minden that go to like Double Edge, like
Mhm.
Garrett Heckes. He's also a
Yeah.
firefighter.
I know
I'm
Garrett.
sure you know him. Right on. Do you know Alex Fico?
So it's funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
So my coworker Jake was like childhood best friends with Alex.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
So
Alex talks about him, and he's like my best friend Jake. So that's him then.
yeah,
Got
so
it.
I've seen Alex at the gym, but I've never like talked to him. But like one day in the rescue in the ambulance, I was listening to his songs, and I
Mm-hmm.
was with Jake, and Jake's like, "Oh, I know this guy." I'm like, "Holy, you know Fiki? Like that's so cool,
Fiki.
And then I like
Right on.
started following him on Instagram and saw that he was super committed to CrossFit, and I'm like, "That's kind of cool." So I listened to his podcast too. But yeah, it's just small world. It's kind of
That's cool.
fun.
Yeah, it is a small world. And do you just know Garrett through Fire, or also from Minden and stuff?
I met him when we were both in Minden.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, because Alex is from, I think it would be considered more. I don't know if you would say Minden, but maybe more Gardnerville.
Yeah, it's the
But
same place,
I
just
guess yeah,
area
same
codes.
same thing. Okay, so there's that. That's cool. So we got a lot of locals at
Mhm.
Double Edge. How did you get into firefighting? Like, walk us through the steps there. Like, what does that look like?
So, I think I've always kind of wanted to do it. My mom's got pictures of me when I was 3 years old, that sitting in a fire engine.
That's cool.
So in high school, I just was like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I'll do it, and again, like chain reactions, right? Everything happens for a reason. So I had started doing a what's it called, a internship with a physical therapy joint right next to Douglas High School, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'll make more money. It's cooler, and I actually got fired from it because the physical therapist was like, "You talk to the patients too much," and
What,
it
really?
like, yeah, and it like destroyed my world. Right? I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fail this class. I have no future. Like, I'm a loser. Because before that had happened, I played baseball in high school and I quit because I'm like, I'm not gonna go anywhere with it. And it was a huge like kind of knife in me and my dad's relationship, and I was trying to prove to him like it's fine, like I'm gonna go get a good job in the real world, and I'm not gonna fail at it. So that had happened when I got fired from the internship, and I'm like, what do I do? So I literally walked out of there, and I'm not scared to admit, like I cried. I was like, this sucks,
Sure,
and
sure, dude.
I walked right across the street to the district office of the department I work for now, and I was like, hey, introduce myself. I'm like, I don't know if you guys have a program that I could intern at. I'm like, I've thought about this before. I just want to see if maybe this is a career path for me. And they're like, yeah, we do this cadet program. You can join. I'm like, sweet. So it was like a, 2 day a week after school thing. You go in and the firefighters would come in and talk to us and tell us about the steps to take and like prepare you. So I started doing ride alongs, doing that. Graduated, went to college. I did my EMT basic, advanced, and then went straight into paramedic school. So that had all happened within 2 years of me graduating. So I was fairly young. I got a
Graduated high
job.
school or college? Mm,
So when I graduated high school, it was 2016.
okay.
So I graduated, then gone to college, do the EMT stuff. Had a couple jobs. Like, I worked at a gym in high school, actually, funny enough. That was kind of where I like really started to get into working out. And there's a bunch of firefighters that worked out there. So I talked to
Yeah.
them, and so then I left, went to a hospital, worked there while I was going through school. And then through paramedic school, I was like, yeah, like, this is because when you get hired in the fire department, like when I got hired, a big thing was to become a paramedic first.
So I was gonna say that, and that's I don't know. It seems to be like you have to be a paramedic now, or in order to become a firefighter, or like to get hired,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
Joaquin, I don't know if you know who Joaquin is. Used to be a coach at the South Gym.
Mhm.
Um, anywho, he left last year, maybe 2 years ago now, to become a firefighter. And then I don't know his whole story, but basically he is done with the fire academy, but can't find any work because you have to have a medic. And Garrett told me all this too. I've asked Garrett a bunch of stuff, and he's like, yeah, you basically need to have, um, what is it, a medic's license or
Yeah,
like what do you call
paramedic,
it?
sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sir. You basically have to have that, otherwise, you don't get anywhere.
Yeah,
And so
they
that seems to still be
want
the
men.
case, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Okay.
it's hard, like, because anybody can really do EMT or advanced. Like, they're not super hard classes, but it's just 2 days a week. In medic school is 3 days a week, and then you're doing clinical rotations and an internship, and it's all unpaid. So you're basically a year worth, and a lot of guys struggle because they have to have full time jobs, and it's like
Yeah.
how do you find that balance. So yeah, I went through medic school and did my internship in Las Vegas, which was really good for me. I learned a lot, and then came back and got hired at East Fork, and I've been there ever since. So
Right on.
I'm
What's
in I'm in my 5th year now there.
I was
So
just so what's the timeline real quick? So graduated high school in 2016. When did you do the cadet thing? Is
so
that
cadet thing was 2015 and 2016.
okay? So last year of high school.
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
So did that.
And then we went to college that next fall.
Yep.
Okay. And then 4 years did you go to UNR or what'd you do?
Nope. It was all at Team CC.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, like I don't have a degree. I'm one of
Sure,
those
that's a fuck. You
guys.
don't need that, dude. I have a degree and I don't even use it. Mine's in fucking computer science, and I'm a
Exactly.
CrossFit coach. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was kind of my thing is I'm like, I don't need a degree for this job. So
sure.
yeah, so then I will call it fall of 2016, spring of 2017, did my basic and advanced CMP, and then fall, spring of 2017, and then spring of 2018 did paramedic school. And then I did my internship in the summer. So then we'll call it, I got hired on in September with the fire department of 2018
Okay.
and graduated the academy in December. So
Okay. So yeah, coming up on yeah on 5. That's awesome.
yeah.
Did you know that you needed to do medic? Like, did somebody
Mhm.
guide you? Like, hey, you need to do this first or whatever.
Yeah.
Get this.
Yeah. I talked to a bunch of different dudes and they're like, you could get hired as an EMT. It's just a lot harder.
Yeah.
'Cause we're like, having that paramedic is just like, we call it the golden ticket because it really is. And so I had a lot of people pushing me to do it. And at first, I didn't want to go straight into it. I wanted to work on an ambulance for like REMSA for a few years and get experience as an EMT. But I got offered to go into medic school, and I'm like, well, I can't say no to the opportunity. So I'll
Yeah.
do it, you know?
Is it such a separator or a golden ticket because of the sacrifice you have to do, and so people don't do that?
I
Like,
think I think between that and just like there's a big gap between what you can do as a paramedic and what you can do as an EMT.
oh, okay,
So like my scope that I can do in the field is a lot bigger than an EMT. So it helps to have more providers that can do that, you
that
know.
makes sense. Yeah. Um, yeah, and like so, I've talked to Garrett about it too. I ask him all questions. Just I don't see him as often anymore, but I was always curious about his fire journey and stuff too. I just think it's interesting. And he
Yeah.
was basically telling me the same thing. Like, if you don't have medic, it's like fucking so hard to do anything, and
Yeah.
like it's like good luck. So, you think that'll always be the case? Like, as if everybody gets it, is it still a special thing? I mean,
No, because it's kind of funny that you asked that. So and Garrett's a great example, right? So Garrett actually worked on the ambulance with me in Remza when I was going through my EMT like field training and he was doing his paramedic training. So
okay,
that's kind of when we started to get to know each other. But like when Garrett got hired and kind of when I got hired, we were really just looking for medics. And you look back 5 to 10 years ago, you'd have departments hiring for 6 spots and you'd have 600 applicants. And so it's super competitive, right? So guys were like,
yeah,
better be a medic or you're not going to get a chance. Whereas now we've had I think every business in the world is having trouble getting good employees. And so now, like we've all seen in the fire service that we'll hold testing and we're having a hard time getting enough good candidates to fill the spots.
okay,
Whereas before we're like, wow, we have 30 really good dudes. How do we pick 6 of them? And now we're like, we need to fill 5 positions and we had 8 people apply. Like, I don't even know if any of these guys, are the right
yeah.
person
Is
for the
that
job.
because less people are becoming want to become firefighters?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Another thing that's interesting that I've heard is that like right now is the time when all of the older veteran firefighters that have been around for 30 years or whatever, they're all retiring at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that still happening or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like if you think about it, right? So it's almost like a high school class. Like there's groups that get hired together. And so
Yeah.
you do a lot of guys will do 25 to 30 years. So, for my case, like I got hired with 13 other guys. All 13 of us are probably gonna retire within the same 6 months. And so that's always the case, is there's
Okay.
just groups that are just like out, out, out. So
It's yeah, that's popping up, or I guess it pops up often. I mean,
yeah,
every couple years it'll happen or whatever.
100%.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. So 5 years in, any like not regrets or anything, but like, are you excited to be where you are? Excited for the next step, whatever that looks like, and like what
Yeah,
I guess what is the next step or what's your plan? What's the future look like?
I don't know. I don't think I have any regrets. I think, like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. But
Yeah.
it was very very hard being a young firefighter. Like I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to clean. Like I was only child. My mom did everything for me. So
Sure.
I went from like not really having any responsibilities to working with a bunch of dudes in their 30s and 40s, and they had kids, some that were the same age as me. And
That's
you're
true.
like,
Yeah.
dude, you need to learn how to mop a floor and cook food and be an adult and like be responsible. And I'm like, I've never done this before. So, but I don't regret it. I think it was good for me. It made me grow up really fast. And I think like the next step, there's always people can promote. But I'm happy being a firefighter. I like that rank. I think there's something to be said about having guys that have been firefighters for a long time. Those are kind of the unspoken leaders in the fire service. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thing right now is like just trying to be the best firefighter I can be and set an example for the guys coming in under me so that they can see like because every business has I mean, I know you've worked places where you've probably had a coworker that you're like, this dude fucking sucks,
Oh,
you
of
know.
course. Yeah.
So you have to like my thing is if I go promote or whatever, then are they going to have a good role model when they get hired? Or are they going to have dudes that don't give a shit? You
Yeah.
know. So because I remember getting hired, I looked up to those dudes that were firefighters for 5, 10 years before promoting. You know.
Right. Well, yeah, and you got a good story, and so like if another kid basically comes in and you're like, dude, I was in your spot. Same
Yeah.
thing. Like, here's the shit you need to do. Here's what you're gonna learn, and I'll mentor you and help you out,
Exactly.
which is cool. That's awesome, dude. Do you bounce around from? Is that you like station to station? That's you guys bounce
Yeah.
around, right?
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
just we bid each year to stay in the station, but with overtimes and trades, like I'm always working at a different station. So
Do you have one that like you're more at, commonly at more than another one?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, cause so, like, just this in January, we had a bid, like, where we wanted our permanent station to be, and so,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the station I go to every week for my normal shift,
Which one's that?
and that's station 7, it's the biggest one we have, and it's, like, kinda we call it the Ranchos in Gardnerville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, like, a probably the most, what's the word? Most people in that area,
Yeah.
so,
Why'd you bid that one?
because I last year I was at a slow station,
Yeah.
so it took
Change it up.
took a year to just, like, decompress, and then I was like, "Alright, time to get back into it."
Right
So
on. You think you'll do that again then? Like now that you're getting busy, or
yeah, I think I like doing like I think I'm gonna try to do a couple years in a busy station, take a year
okay,
to reset, and then go back. You know,
that's awesome, dude.
yeah,
Um, so like fire, fitness, and CrossFit and health and stuff like going back to like you gained 30 pounds, right? So you got up to 160. Where are you at now? What do you weigh?
I'm at like 145 right now.
Okay, so you lost some,
15.
15 pounds in the last year or so.
Yeah.
I'm sure you gained some muscle, lost
Mhm.
fat, right? How do you feel health wise, fitness wise, performance
Uh,
wise for fighting fire and whatnot?
I feel a lot better than I did this time last year. Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
I definitely feel better. There's always more you can improve on, right?
for
Uh,
sure.
but I think, yeah, I think that I've noticed like I can do more. I feel stronger. I feel more apt to like not shy away from pushing myself when I'm at work. I think before I'd be like, I don't want to work out today because if we get a fire, I'm going to be useless. And now I'm like, no, like I have the strength and energy to keep going.
Yeah,
Um, but it's still like it takes time. Like there's still stuff that I in my life that I need to fix and to get to where I want to be.
of course. Always, dude. Every day you try, yeah, better every day, but it's that constant strive for success,
Exactly.
just in
But yeah,
general.
I feel way better. Um, you
Good.
know, I try to even when I'm at work, like I try to do the wads from Double Edge every day that I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard, like we don't have some equipment there. So
Right.
you're like, okay, how can I scale this? Or what can I do instead? And like sometimes like I'll get off on a Monday and I'll have to do some stuff. And then I get home and I have errands and it's like, shit, I missed the gym today. And so when I'm at work and I'm working on a Sunday, I'm like, cool, I know this is a rest day for Double Edge, but like I'm going to do one of the workouts I missed this week instead,
Yeah, that's
you know?
cool. What
So
you work like 3 on, or how's that work?
two, 2 on, 4 off.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
the days just rotate every week, or like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep. They
So
just rotate back.
completely random, or
Yeah.
like is it a cycle? So it's Monday, Tuesday on, and then 4 off, and then it's
Sunday, Monday, Saturday,
got it.
Saturday, Friday,
Okay,
Saturday. Yep. So it just moves back one day each week.
gotcha. Is
Yeah.
there a pattern that you're like, oh shit, it's that week. It came around, 6 weeks from now. Like you're
Yeah.
stoked that it's Friday, Saturday, or something, or does it?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
you get those couple sets where it's like you're getting weekends off or Friday, Saturday, and you're like, all right, sweet, like I get
that's
this
cool.
time. So, but
Yeah.
it's hard because like a lot of my friends are firefighters, so
Mm-hmm.
we kind of just do things on our off days no matter what. It's not like I'm constantly waiting for like, oh, it's a Saturday or a Friday.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you do a lot of the? Garrett told me a little background just from talking to him. A lot of the mandatories,
yeah,
like
so
he's
like this last week I just got mandatory.
yeah. That
So
it seems to happen fairly often,
It
or
depends
like
on the department, but yeah, I
okay,
like it. It sucks, it's not fun. Like
for sure.
this last week, like I had plans to leave town, and then you're leaving work, and your chief calls you, and he's like, you're staying here. Like, all right, I guess
Fuck.
I am. But
Yeah.
like that, it's also kind of like you got to make it what it is, right? So I'm like, well, like if I had left town, I was gonna go, do this. I probably wasn't gonna work out these couple days. I'm stuck
Yeah.
with
True.
it now, so I can work out and do the WOD and get better. So a
Exactly.
little bit of a silver lining.
Um. So you told me when we were gonna do this that like you kind of you had a good story, which I agree you do. But you had said like being short. How tall are you?
5'5".
Okay. What has that done or issues that have arose or I don't know anything when it comes to being in fire? Like, did people talk shit and make fun of you, or is like, oh, you're never gonna make it as a firefighter, you're too small? I mean, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
is that a thing or like?
Um, I don't think I ever had anybody tell me like you can't do it, but and you got to understand like the fire department is a frat house, so
Okay.
like people give shit all the time. But there's a point everybody has where they're like, okay, I fucking get it, I'm short. Like it's not funny, you know.
Yeah. Right.
So, no, I think just like it's difficult. Like I not just being short. I'm a small guy.
Yeah.
Like I've never been super strong. I'm like always just this little dude. So just things like carrying a lot of weight on me. Like it's harder for me to do that because of my size versus a dude that just has lived his entire life with weighing 180 pounds. Like he's used to carrying weight, whereas like I'm not.
Right.
And like throwing a ladder, it's super hard for a short guy to do that. And it's like kind of hard to explain, but you got this 24-foot ladder on your shoulders, and when it's not extended, it's 14 feet, but it weighs like 78 pounds, and you're taking it and throwing it. And when you're
Mm-hmm.
tall, like it's all physics, right? Like so you're tall, it's a lot easier for you to take this and throw it over and get it to stand up. Whereas for me, I'm fighting it because I'm so low to the ground. It's not easy for me to
Oh yeah,
just
all the tops coming like against you. Yeah, it makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
exactly. So, that makes it kind of difficult. I know smaller people struggle sometimes because they're just not as big or as strong or as fast as a lot of people that are not, short. Like 5'5" isn't very tall at all.
Yeah.
So, no, it's just little things that you have to get used to, and you're like, okay, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make that work? Like
Yeah.
I can figure out like pulling hose off the back of an engine for a tall guy is a little easier. The hose beds are pretty tall, so they can just grab it and go. Whereas I have to sit there and be like, okay, how am I going to get this down to my level to where I don't drop all this hose on myself or where I fall off the back of the engine trying to do this? You know what I mean?
For sure.
So
Yeah, I think and in a way like yeah, it makes things harder, but like it makes you like fires you up, be like, well, I'm gonna fucking figure this out and prove people wrong or whatever, people are doubting me or they're automatically counting you out or like, oh well, it's gonna be harder for you and then you're like you should like sup, I got it, dude. Like
exactly. Yeah. I
which is
mean, I
cool.
I lived my life like I grew up, I was a short guy. I was a little nerdy. Like, I mean, I had
Mm-hmm.
like curly Jufro with glasses and buck teeth growing up. I was never a kid that I think people like it's the typical like woe is me story. Like, yeah, I got bullied. Like people make fun of me
Mm-hmm.
for being short and being a nerd. And so like that all made me like, okay, like when I got to where I wanted to be as an adult, I'm like, I need to do this for myself to, show me and everybody else like that I can go do something that maybe people didn't think I was going to be able to do, you know?
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to me, made me push myself harder.
Yeah, and look, and you're doing it, dude.
Yeah,
What what
exactly.
is what does your dad think now? Or like, is he
Dude, he's stoked. He's proud.
good, good,
He's
yeah.
he's impressed. So, it's I'm happy to make him proud, but like it was all for me too. Like I wanted to show myself that I was able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Every day at work, like that's my goal. It's the same in the gym. Like I want to get better at the skills I have to perform because they matter.
Try it.
So
Yep.
it's just a constant ladder you're climbing to get better and better and better.
Yeah, every day, dude. It's always yeah, every day's a competition.
Hmm.
Um, is anyone? Are you the only firefighter in your family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody like close or like? Have you ever talked to anyone that wants to be one, or I don't know, nephews or anything like that, or
No,
nieces or anything?
I have a very small family.
Okay. Yeah.
And like so I was adopted too. So I kind of
Okay.
have
Wow.
two sides family.
Yeah.
But no, nobody really has ever taken an interest in it. I think like just friends I've had or like people from high school are the only people that have reached out, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, do you have any advice? I'm like, yeah, so
I guess that's actually a good topic to kind of go into the next. Like, what would be like? Obviously, it's huge. You could give so many different points or advice, but like, say someone does want to be a firefighter, because I do think it is, especially like at the gym or like in functional fitness space or CrossFit. There's a lot of service members, a lot of CrossFitters do it, and a lot of CrossFitters are doing. They're police officers. We have a lot of double edged firefighters, whatever it may be, and then in the same aspect, a lot of the cops and firefighters, they do CrossFit at the gym or at the firehouse and things like that. So like it kind of goes hand in hand. We see that, but like if somebody did with one of your friends did reach out, like would you say it's hard to become a firefighter right now, or it's easier, or it's
I think it depends on the type of person you are, right? If you're
okay?
if
Yeah,
you're willing to grind, then yeah, it's not hard, but you have to be willing to understand. Like if you have an ego, you're not going to succeed.
yeah,
If you are going to give up, you're not going to succeed. If you want instant gratification, you're not going to succeed. Like it's a long process of basically being the bottom of the barrel person, and everybody's just stomping on you, and you just got to take your hits and be like, all right, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Um, but
and do you mean by like the general public or other firefighters,
Just
or what do
other
you mean?
firefighters, like you start
Yeah,
out as a recruit, right? So you're not even like they don't. They're like, we need to see that you can prove that you deserve to be here, right?
okay, yeah,
Then you get through the academy, and then you have a year of probation on, at the station, and you're the new guy, right? Like
mm-hmm.
you're always getting tested, you're always getting quizzed, you're always training, you're doing, you're making coffee every night, you're putting the flag up, you're waking up before everybody else, you're putting the dishes away, like any chore is your job to do on top of all the other duties is assigned at work. So it's busy, and you have guys kind of treating you like a new guy, and a
Yeah.
lot of dudes can't handle it. Because I mean, I don't know how old Joaquin is, but
I
you
think
take
he's 30. I want to say he's 30 or 31.
perfect. So we take a
Yeah.
dude who's 31, right? And not this isn't about Joaquin. Just let's pick somebody
Sure.
that's 31, right?
Sure. Sure.
And they get hired in the firehouse, and I'm their guy that's mentoring them. I'm 25 or
All
20.
right. Yeah. That's a good point.
So you got this dude who's 31 who probably is married and has kids, and he's got, me telling him what's up. And a lot of guys were like, fuck this guy. Like, he doesn't know what's up. So you have to take your ego out of everything.
Yeah.
But if I had any advice to give somebody who wanted to do it, I'd honestly tell them just go to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Go get your EMT and stuff. Like that's super straightforward. You want help with interview questions, anybody can do that for you. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to prepare yourself for what you're going to get put through in the fire academy, go do CrossFit.
Yeah.
Because
Like the mental, obviously the physical aspect, but like the mental,
yes, there's
right?
nothing that's better prepared me for what I have to do at work than the CrossFit workout.
That's
Like
awesome, dude.
hands down. I mean, you see a lot of guys that like, because there's fit guys at normal gyms, right? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
fit people everywhere, but you take a guy who is just a regular Joe Schmo, goes to the gym every day, but then you make him do a fire academy. Well, you're doing stuff wearing gear and a pack on your back, like an extra almost 100 pounds, so it's like everything changes when you add weight, right?
Oh, for
Think
sure.
about a workout, think about doing Murph, right? How fast do you think you could do Murph without a vest versus when you have to do it with weight?
Yeah, for like half the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes it way harder for you. But I found that when I'm at work doing a training or when I'm in the academy, like you're not sitting there stagnant and being like, okay, guys, I want you to take this tool and curl it. Like that never happens, right?
Right.
But they are like, hey, jump off this engine, run around and hook up to a fire hydrant and then pull this hose to a door. And then you're going to open this door with some tools, and then you're going to grab the hose and you're going to drag it through a building. It's all these different movements at very high speed at a very high fatigue level.
Yeah.
So it's like in CrossFit when we have, a 15-minute, AMRAP, and you're just your heart rate's super fast, you're super tired, but you have to keep going. It's the same thing at work.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's awesome. Um, yeah, like task oriented. You do this task and you knock out this task. Boom, boom. Just like a CrossFit workout. Kind
Yeah.
of move on and that's what CrossFit is supposed to be, functional fitness, right? And all the shit like, and to help you in life and to help you in your job and service workers and firefighters and all that stuff. Like it's exactly it, which is, um, that's awesome. I guess the next part of my question is, do you think it's too late? Like it's ever too late for somebody to like, okay, I think the military cuts people off different branches if you're like 35 or something.
Mhm.
Like, is it similar to fire? Do they have a standard like that, or like have you seen guys come in and they're 38 and they're like, I want to change my life and this is what I
Yeah.
want to do?
No, we just had 2 guys in the last couple of years get hired. One was like 42 and the other guy was
Wow,
36. Yeah, and dude, they're studs. Like
holy shit,
I gotta
that's
hand it
cool.
to them. Like they went in and they fucking made it happen, and it's really cool to see that. So it's never too late. You just gotta be in your mind. You gotta be willing to say I can do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and abandon your ego, like you said, which is exactly like in a CrossFit gym.
yep.
Everyone says like, bro, abandon your fucking ego. Like you're different now, or like if this, whatever it is,
Yeah.
throw that shit away.
Exactly, because if you yeah, I always tell guys that too at the gym or at work. I'm like, "Dude, you should do CrossFit," and they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "It will put you back at ground zero when you walk in and you see a dude or a chick who does not appear outwardly to be super strong, and then, you watch them snatch 205 and you're like, "What? Like,
Yeah, it's
how
cool
did they do that?" Or they're just super in shape and they don't slow down, It's like it's cool to see that.
for sure.
And I like to try to get dudes at work to do some of the wads that Double Edge does. I'm like,
Hmm.
"Hey, let's do this workout," and it shows them like, "Holy shit, this is hard," and
Yeah,
a good teaching moment for everybody because it like once again it just pertains to our job. I know when I look at the workout some days, like, oh, I'm super good at those. That's where I'm going to make up time, right? Like I feel super good at handstand push-ups,
yeah,
so I see those and I'm like, done. Like I won't have to break them up. I can fly through them and I don't get fatigued very easily. But doing any type of barbell movement like a power cleaner, snatch, or a thruster, like those tire me out. So
for sure.
same, like when I look at that workout, I'm like, okay, cool. If I want to get a good score, I'm going to, pace myself on the barbell. But then when I'm doing toes to bar and or pull ups, and then I have handstand push ups, I'm gonna burn through those. Then I'll have time to sit, like relax. Okay, get back on the barbell. It's the same at work. There's
Yeah,
certain things that are easier for me than others. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good at doing that, but it's going to take me a little bit longer than some other people to throw this ladder. So I'm gonna, take my time there.
yeah. I was gonna ask you that. So the things that are hard for you, like the ladder and the hose, what are things that actually give you a little bit of advantage with your size?
I'd say any. Sorry, my dog's in here. Let me grab that
That's
screen.
okay, dude. No worries.
You
You
knew I
good,
was
dude?
talking to someone. I think anything that has to do with like confined space.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
super
yeah.
I'm small, right? So like any like going through a window or like if I have to like go through a floor or like on a hose line to get somebody that fell through, or if we're
Hmm.
crawling through stuff, like we have a bunch of props, like, oh, the building collapsed, you got to crawl through here. Like a lot of guys got to take their pack off and they're just like inching their way through. They're so tight. Whereas for me, like I can just weasel my way through there because I'm like a little pack rat.
Yeah.
It's like we'll go on, a fire alarm call and, the captain's like, "Hey, I need you to get in the attic space." I'm always the guy to go up there, or
Okay. Yeah.
we've had calls where people fall through a crawl space, and I'm the one that goes down there and helps them because I'm small and it's easy for me to move around that type of
Is
stuff.
that a thing? Do they like call on you? All right, Sam, you're up, dude. Like, this is your call type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. 'Cause
cool.
they know like, oh, you'll be able to fit. I'm like, yeah, I know. So
Right. So that's a cool part about like, being able to use your weak or your disadvantage as an advantage
yeah,
or
100%.
whatever, and like
It's a
capitalize on it.
it's a team effort for everything, dude. Like
Oh, for sure.
that's the
Yeah.
coolest thing about the fire service is you every crew has people from so many different walks of life with so many things that they bring to the table, and I'm a firm believer like every call we run, if we took one of those players out of the game, we wouldn't succeed as well as we would with them back in,
Yeah,
you know.
that's awesome. Um, it, let's just like play a fun little scenario, or not even a scenario. I don't know. If you could like the fast track from somebody who wants to become a firefighter, has done nothing. They don't have an EMT, no medic, nothing, whatever. What is like the fastest they could do it if like everything like lined up?
uh Dude, honestly, they could get it done in 5 months
Really?
because you can still get hired as an EMT. So, not
Yeah.
saying you will, but some departments do. So you could
Okay.
easily like take your EMT class, and as soon as you get your cert, go put an application in, and you're good, and you might get hired.
And so
So,
then what does that look like if you're hired then? So you're an EMT at a fire.
so
Like what does that
you
look like? I don't know.
you get your EMT and then you apply to fire departments because almost every department now puts you through an academy. So
Okay, I see.
then you just go through an academy, and that takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months depending on where you're at, and then you hit the line and you start working. So
And is that because like one's an accelerated academy, like you're there for more
Uh,
days or something?
it just depends on I think just certain departments have more to cover than others.
Gotcha.
I don't
Okay.
have a good answer for that, like why it's a
Interesting.
certain way.
But so it could be fast though, like if you
It,
if things lined up and it just worked out
I work with
or whatever.
guys who it took them 6 months from deciding they want to be a firefighter to getting a job, and I've worked with guys that it's taken them 10 years.
Yeah,
You know, so
that's
there's
interesting.
so many different pathways you can take. Um,
Okay, so that's the fastest way.
yeah.
What's the smartest way or like the best way? Like,
Oh, that's a
you know
good
what I mean?
question.
Like the way to like, all right, it might take me a little bit longer, but I'm like 90%
I I got you.
better than that, than if
Yeah.
I just gambled or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I guess I could answer this like if I could go back and start over.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have probably gone through my EMT in advance still, but I would have worked on a wildland fire crew in the summers for
Okay.
2 3 years.
That's a good
Then after
yeah.
that, I would have gone to paramedic school. And then during paramedic school, I probably would have worked on an ambulance like for REMSA.
Mhm.
And after that, then I would have tried to get hired. So
Okay.
that
What
probably
so
would be my like if I could go over and do it like the way I always think would be the right way would be that because then you get wildland fire experience, which shows you how to work hard, how to
yeah.
not give up. Like I'll be honest, how not to be a bitch, and then
Oh, first dude,
those guys
from
are
what I
hard.
heard, yeah.
So, but you get that right, and then you also learn like team dynamics, communicating with people that have a Type A personality, the same as you, and then going and working on an ambulance in a private sector before going to the fire department shows you how to run medical calls, just like what to expect when you get there. Like you have all these things that would just aid you into when you get there.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Just
the
makes you
wild
better.
those wildland guys are just they're in shape. Like I envy dudes that did wildland. Like there's something ingrained in their brain that they just won't stop.
Yeah.
You know?
They're so Garrett's one of them, right? He did Wildland.
Yeah, he was
Do you know Tyler Molenberg?
no.
Okay, so he started at Midtown. He's not as active at the gym. I mean, he still bounces around a little bit, but he's one of the fittest at Double Edge,
Mhm.
for sure. And he's Wildland, like he still is. Like that's his um, current job and everything. And it's crazy because he'll be gone, right? They're gone, 6 months out of the year, all summer long, and then he'll come back to the gym. And obviously, like being Wildland, you're still working. You're
Yeah.
working fucking hard and long days and crazy stuff. But like he's not training CrossFit, right? And he'll come back to the gym and like he just like picks it back up and he passes everybody again.
Yeah,
It's like insane. They're on another level for sure.
they are. I mean, I have dudes I work with that were hot shots for years and like they have kids, like they're active, but they're not like in the CrossFit gym every day like I
Hmm.
am. And we'll do a workout at work and I'm like, holy shit, like this dude's insane. Like they just won't
Yeah.
stop. And I'm sitting there on the side, like trying to catch my breath, just dying, and they're just on this fucking pull up rig, just doing toes to bar like nobody's business.
Yep.
And I'm like, God damn, it's nuts. One of my
It's crazy. Yeah.
one of my buddies, Justin, he's like the best person I could use an example because you'd like look at him and you're like, he's not fat, but he's not like shredded.
Hmm.
This dude will go during the day, like we won't see him and he'll be out just running and he'll do like a 6 to 12 mile run and then come back in and he'll like put a CBA pack on and go on air breathing through a mask, which if
Wow.
you've never done that before, it's very different. You feel super claustrophobic and like it's not like when you're in the gym right now and you need to catch your breath or you're just like you're breathing through a mask. So you're
Dude,
like,
yeah.
this is weird. But he'll put a pack on and get a mask on, and then he'll just start doing like burpee, dumbbell, box step overs, and he'll do it
Jesus.
until he runs out of air. And like that's a
Fucking
workout
A.
for him. And you're just like, dude, what the hell?
What a stud, dude. Yeah.
You're stud.
Um and Wildland is like fucking that's dangerous shit. I mean, obviously firefighter in general is dangerous, right? But like I don't know, like not only is it dangerous, I guess, I mean, but
Yeah.
they work for 10 days at a time or whatever,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
You
they'll
know,
go on. 14-day rolls or 21-day
Yeah,
rolls, and dude, it's just a different world out there. Like
for sure.
I've only done one like off district wildland assignment since I've been a fireman, and like it's so hard to explain, but it's different. Like you're out there in the middle of the woods, sleeping on the ground every day.
Yeah,
Like you wake up at 5 and at 5:30 you guys are in the trucks going to wherever you're going, and then you're just working all day. It's like, all right, we're gonna stop here, we're gonna hike, and you got hose on your back, you're just gonna hike
yep,
all day, and we're gonna put this hose line in. All right, it's noon, we got 30 minutes to eat lunch, gonna keep working like 5-ish, you're done for the day, maybe 6 or 7, just depends on who's in charge, what they want. Then you come back to camp, you get your dinner. That's it's a camp dinner, so
right.
it's
Yeah,
not
not the
the
greatest.
healthiest or the best, and like for me, like I have a lot of stuff I can't eat, like, it just blows me up, or I'm allergic, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so you eat what you can, and then you're just so exhausted, you're just like, you find where you're gonna sleep, and you're out like a light.
Yeah, for
I've
sure.
never I've never fallen asleep as quick as I did the 2 weeks I was out, like,
Damn.
mentally exhausted.
Um, it seems like I would say maybe not most, but the direction that Wildland usually wants to go is they would do Wildland for X amount of time, but their goal or they're eventually going to transfer into um, what do you
Yeah,
call it, department or
all risk.
okay, so yeah, they want to transfer that way. Do they? Is it ever the other direction? Do people ever go? It's never
I've
seemed to
never
be that thing. Huh? I've never heard of it
no,
either.
I feel like guys, like, a lot of dudes, like, get out of high school and they go work for a hand crew, right? And they're doing wildland, and they either are like, okay, I'm gonna go to structure right now, or I want to go be a hot shot or a smoke jumper. So they set that goal, and they're like, I want to achieve that, and then I'll go to the structure side.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think everybody understands in the wildland realm, like, it's very hard to have a family if that's
Yeah,
your life.
that's a good point. Yep.
I mean, it's hard now. Like, yeah, that's something good to talk about. I think one thing a lot of people don't understand about the fire service, and I might be the only guy who feels this way, but like, it's almost irritating when you meet people and you tell them I'm a firefighter, and they say, "Oh, dude, I'm so jealous, man. You guys make good money, and you only work 2 days at a time."
Oh
And you're like,
God.
well, have you ever? I'm like, I always ask them, like, tell me about a time you've been at work and you're getting ready to leave, and they tell you you're not leaving for 2 more days.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's one thing, and I go, it's hard because I'm not coming home at night. I'm there for the full 2 days. I'm getting woken up in the middle of the night to run calls. Like, a
Right.
lot of people don't experience that, so it's hard. It's super tough on you mentally because, like, I don't like to be lazy during the day, but it's hard when you run calls all night, and you're trying to, like, do a workout the next day or do training, and you're just like, man, I'm so fatigued right now because I didn't get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
and you're not home, so it adds a whole other level of stress on how you have to run your life, right? So, like, hey, I gotta pay rent, on the first, but I'm gonna be at work, so I gotta make sure I do it before. Or I have this appointment, well, I need to schedule it for a day, I can't get mandatory to be at work, and you're dealing with a spouse at home who, like, everybody's relationship's different. Like, I'm super lucky that my girlfriend's very independent, but there's guys I work with that their wives are like, I don't know how to handle this situation, or I don't know how to do this with the kids, and
Mm-hmm.
this broke. Like, what do I do? And they're like, fuck, like, I'm not home
Okay.
to take care of it.
For
So
sure, dude.
it's tough.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a firefighter until you have to be a firefighter,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
know, or like whatever it may be. Like they just see like the glory stuff or the money and the like moral support that people get. You know, everybody respects a firefighter or whatever. It's like and they're like, I want to be that. It's like, but do you really? You know,
yeah,
you just say that, or I'm so jealous of you. Like I would do that if I could, or back
yeah.
in my day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a whole different aspect once you do it. Like, it just gets stressful sometimes. Like, I've been in that spot where I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm stuck at work now. Like, we were supposed to get this done. Like, we're gonna have to
Yeah.
stop that. So
One thing on top of the other, dude. Just fucking shit
yeah,
happens, right?
yeah.
Um,
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
for sure. Yeah, that's how you know you're in a good spot, right? Like that's what you want to do. Which actually is question is how does somebody know if they want to be a firefighter? Like, how did you know? Like you said, your mom had photos of you when you're 3 years old and in a fire engine and stuff. But like, how I don't know, like you can't experience being a firefighter until you do it, right? Or like something close to it. Like if you want to work on um, a car, you can work on a car at your house. Be like, oh, this is fun, or this sucks, or whatever it is, right? You can try these things to decide on what your career path is going to be. But like something like being a firefighter or a cop or these things that like you don't know until you
Yeah.
try it. Like how do you know that, or how did you know that? How do you think people
I
realize
think
that?
there's two parts to that, right? Like I think there's the so there's like the lifestyle you live, and then there's also like the benefit of doing it in a sense of like mentally why do you feel good about your career, right? Like I know why you like being a CrossFit coach. So,
Mm-hmm.
and this is kind of a cool story. So when I worked at that gym in high school, I was working one day
What
and I
gym was it?
it was called Pulse Fitness.
This is in Minden.
Yeah,
Is
Alex
it
would know.
still there?
Alex would know. Yep, it's still there.
Still there? Okay, Pulse Fitness. Right
Uh,
on.
so I'm working there in high school, right? And I had, I was in the cadet program, so I just got my CPR card, and I'm sitting there at the gym one day, and this dude collapses off a treadmill, and
Fuck.
I'm at the front desk, and this chick comes running up. She's like, and I'm like, holy shit. So I like run over there and I like check this guy's pulse, and he doesn't have a pulse. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. So thank God, this off-duty deputy was there, and me and him were friends. Shout out Jeff Marshall.
There you go.
So
Right on.
he comes over and he's like, all right, I'm gonna call 911, start doing CPR. So we start doing CPR. The fire department shows up, and it was crazy, dude. Like it was like the first time I'd seen this. Like this group of six guys runs in, and they got these bags and a cardiac monitor, and they're moving stuff out of the way, and one dude's doing CPR, and this guy's getting the monitor on him, and this guy's starting an IV, and they're pushing medications, and they're breathing for him, and I was like, oh, like, what do I do? So I'm like just trying to help him move stuff, right? Come to find out, the guy lives,
That's awesome. Right
makes a
on.
full recovery, walks out of the hospital. His son went to high school with me, and his
Wow.
son had come up to me like months later, was like, hey, my mom told me you were there, and I just want to say thank you. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, like, my dad would probably be dead.
Yeah.
And that was like a big turning point to me, where I was like, wow, like, not to like make it about me, like it's about other people, right? But I'm like, wow, I helped someone. That was a really cool feeling. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something with my life where I'm doing it for somebody else, and that kind of goes in turn with the second side of how is like, it is a lifestyle. I don't want this to come off as being pompous or cocky, but when you choose a job in public service, like, you seriously are a very selfless person. So
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
I go to work, right? And every firefighter and cop and EMT and nurse and name it goes to work, and we are there for other people, and it's our job to fix that person's problem. So if that gives you a sense of pride and accomplishment to help somebody and be there for them and figure out a problem, like, that will make you realize like you want to do it. But it all, like, it's good that it's on this podcast, because it all does come back to that fitness mentality, and that, like, are you the type of person that wants to push yourself? Because in my opinion, like, I don't like seeing firefighters that don't take care of themselves. I don't like seeing firefighters that don't give a shit, because I was that firefighter. I saw
Really?
myself
Yeah.
in that hole where I gained a shitload of weight, and I was turning into a slug, and I didn't give a shit when I was at work, and I was like, whatever, like, we'll do whatever we need to do. I'm not going to work out today. I don't feel like it. I'm not going to drink any water. I'm going to fucking pound 6 donuts this morning, and you know, and
Uh,
so I was there, and then you have to be that type of guy, though, that's like, no, like, I owe it to the people that I work for, which is the public, right? Like, the people who call 911, I owe it to them to be healthy and take care of myself. And like, we need to get in that. Like, my suggestion to anybody who thinks that it could be a job for them, they need to truly sit down with themselves and be like, can I be a person that other guys I work with respect because of how I treat my body and how much I care about
yeah.
how good of a firefighter I will be? Because it's the same for you, right? You're a CrossFit coach. Would you be happy if you had a coach come in that was an overweight piece of shit who
Oh
didn't
God.
try anything? Because I had that, dude. When I worked at that gym, the
Yeah.
lady that ran it, she was like, I don't know, 350 pounds, couldn't do a
Damn.
single push up. Like, and it's not to fat shame or say like you're not worth anything to me, but it's like she didn't ever make that goal to lose weight or try to get better.
Well,
Whereas like
yeah.
that's what you have to do when you're a firefighter. I don't care if you come in the firehouse and you're fat, like you can fix that, but that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I don't want to hear you say like, this is too hard or I can't do it, because how are you going to look at somebody's family if a fire happens? Like, you could ask Garrett, you could ask any firefighter, because I know Garrett's the same. If I am at work and somebody's stuck in a house fire and I have to go get them out, it's my job to make sure I was physically and mentally prepared for that day.
Yep.
So I need to make sure I can go in there and get them and not collapse myself, right? There's people I know in the fire service that I don't know if they could do it. I don't know if they would be able to get me out of a fire if something happened to me. And like, that's scary.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah.
like everybody who's in public service swore an oath when they got that badge put on their shirt. Like, and that means something. And a lot of guys forget that, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it, because it means a lot to me, because I got myself out of that rut. I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let myself become, one of the statistics of firefighters who die from heart attacks on duty or die from obesity or cancer, a year after they retire. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that dude who through my career took really good care of myself. I want to be 49 years old, because I'll retire when I'm 50. I want to be able to sit there with a year left and have my wife and, hopefully my kids one day look at me and be like, wow, like, our dad is in super good shape. He always took care of himself. I want to retire and have the new generation of firefighters looking at me being like, I want to be like that guy and not let myself be a fat piece of shit. So then
Yeah.
20 years when I'm 70 and, I'm still healthy and I have grandkids I can visit and I still have fun with my wife and my family because I didn't let myself have a heart attack 2 years after I retired. Like, that's what matters.
Well
So
said. Well
that's
said,
that's
dude.
that's my soapbox on
That was badass, bro. It's fucking awesome. You got me
so
all fired up, dude. I'm
yeah.
motivated now.
No, I mean, but it's important, dude. And like, that's why I commend guys like you and Chase and Derek and name somebody at the gym. Like, you guys make me want to be a better version of myself. And I've never met, I think his name was Dustin. You had him on the show.
Yeah, Dustin. Yep.
I've never met that guy, but he fired me up because he works at UPS. Like, that's cool. But I'm like, I literally told a guy at work last week, I'm like, I told him, like, I listen to this podcast. This dude works at UPS and he's a fucking savage. And he doesn't have to go in a burning building and pull people out. He doesn't have to lift up 400-pound people that fall on the floor and can't get themselves up. Like, but he still cares about his fitness. Why don't
Mm-hmm.
all of us care about it?
Yeah, that's
So
true,
like
dude.
it really makes me get excited for it when I see you guys at the gym getting after it. I'm like, dude, if they're doing it just for themselves, like, I can fucking push hard to do it for myself and everybody else that I'm doing it for.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, dude. Glad you.
So
Yeah, that's cool. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like exactly that same thing is right. How you gonna sell a product? Your product being your fitness, your health, whatever, and you don't believe in it, right? So going back to the girl who ran the gym, right, and she's overweight and unhealthy. All right, I'm gonna run this fitness center, and you guys are all gonna come in and get healthy and lose weight, but I'm not gonna do the same thing, right?
exactly.
Or going back to the cross, like if I'm your coach and I'm overweight and some fat piece of shit, and I'm like, all right, Sam, I want you to do some burpees. Okay, you could have went faster here. You could have did those burpees better. And you're like, bro, fuck you. Like, I'll race you right now. Like, you can't even do a burpee, right?
Exactly.
Can you even
Yeah.
do a strict pull up, like, or whatever it is? Like, you're trying to tell me how to do it, and exactly, like, it's that's a funny thing because I think it happens more often than not even necessarily fitness related or CrossFit or whatever it may be, but just like people selling a product, but they fucking hate it, or they don't actually believe in the product they're selling, and they're just like lying to your face. And I talked about that actually I think about it, my last episode was like, people see through that bullshit quickly, right?
Mhm.
And word travels quick, right? We're not in the fucking 1800s where people had to write letters and send it across the fucking United States to say, oh yeah, code unlocked. That guy is a fucking imposter and he's lying about shit. And it took 5 years for people to hear about it.
Right.
If something happens on here, or like we talk about something or whatever it is, people find out immediately. Or if you come on here and you're fucking lying, and then someone's like, no, what? Sam's
Yeah.
lying about that story or whatever it is. Code's lying. Dustin's lying. It's not
Yeah.
true. People like instant. And then people see through that bullshit and word spreads.
Yeah.
And also it's hard to sell it's honestly hard to sell a product that you don't believe in. Like, unless you're, I mean, It's just
Yeah.
hard in general, but
Yeah. You
people,
can't be, you won't be passionate about it. And
no,
people,
not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So it's just kind of funny that you said that because yeah, exactly.
oh,
Like,
I see it, dude. Like and I'm sure you have too. Like you can tell somebody very quickly when you meet them. And so like that's why I'm not one of those dudes who's like, oh, I saw this guy on fucking Instagram, Liver King, and I'm gonna fucking eat this because
oh
he
yeah.
said it. Like, I don't know that guy. I don't know if he's truthful, but would you or Chase or Derek or name somebody in the gym that's in
Mm-hmm.
shape tells me like, hey, dude, you should try this product, or hey, like I tried this to make myself better at this movement and it really helped. I'm like, well, I've seen this guy work out and he's, a stud. So yeah, I trust him. Like he's not lying and he's passionate about it. So I'm going to listen to him, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
But you can see that in the fire service, like dudes will come and talk to you, and it's very quick for me to tell, like, does this guy give a shit or is he, just lying to my face?
Yeah.
You can tell very quickly if somebody means what they're saying.
Exactly. Yep. You see right through that shit when it's yeah when it's not passionate or it's fake or a lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then on the other side, like just to go against that a little bit, I do think it is slightly okay, or like I don't even know how to word it. Not slightly okay, but so like I can teach somebody how to snatch, but I
Mhm.
might not be the best at snatching. Like there's tons of people in the gym who can snatch more than me, but I can still coach them on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But so there is a little bit to it on that part, but it's not being able to have that respect for that person. Now, if I didn't know how to snatch, right, or I couldn't fucking do a snatch, then it's that same thing. So I think there's a line, right? If you can't do the movement that you're trying to teach someone how to do or coach them on, then it's like, why the fuck would I listen to you and respect you?
Hmm.
But if you could do it, but maybe you're stronger than me and whatever it is, or you're better at moving, then I'd be like, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about. I'm just better at it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and that applies to anything. When
Yeah.
that, but
I don't,
um,
I wouldn't judge you like if you were giving me snatch advice at the gym, and I was like, okay, Cody, if you're so good at it, snatch 350.
that's right. Yeah,
Like, well, I can't. I'm not going to be like, then you're stupid. Like this guy can snatch 315. He's not a coach. Like
yeah,
everybody brings something to the table, right?
yeah, exactly. And just because you can snatch 315 doesn't mean you know how to teach it.
Yeah,
Um,
or that you're doing it correctly.
right, exactly. Or and just because you are not you, but someone is a firefighter doesn't mean they're a good firefighter. They know how to mentor someone to be a firefighter or a cop or whatever the fuck it is, right? Um, and a personal like a battle, like I think coaches have all the time, or you might have all the time, is when somebody comes into the gym or comes in, to the fire, a newer firefighter, whatever it may be, and they're older than you maybe, or somehow they have more experience, or their dad was the fire captain. I don't know, right? Like you're like, so somebody from my experience or my story would be like somebody comes in the gym and it's a fucking guy who can snatch way more than me, or he's way fitter than me, and I'm like, well, fuck, what am I gonna tell him? Like he's better than me at it, but that person still needs to be coached,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure they still want to be coached. They still want me to go up and hey, do this better, or like hey, you could have done this, right? And then the same thing, right? That person that comes to the fire academy, they may have way more experience. Their fucking whole family is firefighters. Doesn't mean you don't give them value just because they have more experience than you or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? And it's hard. Sometimes I find myself like, fuck, what am I going to tell this person? But it's like, you got to think about it. Like, no, just because they can do that better than you doesn't mean that you can't give them value or tell them, hey, you could have done this better.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody has something that you can gain from everybody else, right?
yeah,
Like I wouldn't like, and it's funny to talk about because like me talking to you about life right now or our passions or our work, like you're not a firefighter, but I'm gonna leave this conversation and take something from you that I can apply to make myself better in my life,
mm-hmm.
because that's just human nature. Like everybody has something to give, you know. But and
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
I'm glad you said like just because you're a CrossFit coach doesn't mean you're a good CrossFit coach. Just because you're a firefighter doesn't mean you're a good firefighter. Like there's always that little extra you have to have in whatever you do that makes you actually good at it.
Right.
And I don't know if this pertains to your career as much as mine, but like I listened to a podcast the other day that was saying like there's a difference between being a good dude and being a good firefighter. And you could be a good dude and a good firefighter, but you could also just be a good dude.
Yeah.
And it's something the fire service struggles with because we have a lot of guys that you're like, oh, well, he's a good dude. And like when I hear
All
someone
right.
say that, like I know what they're talking about, and like that's my fear. I don't ever want to be that guy that's brought up at the table where they're like, oh, Sam's a good dude. I want
Yeah,
them.
but
No,
they
Sam.
can't say that you're a good firefighter though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's what you want people to say, and it's like, so we need to get away from that. We need to hire guys and make guys like, no, he's a good fireman, because
Right.
yeah, he's a good dude and he's a fireman, but he's not a good dude and a good fireman.
Yeah, I like that. Right. Your personality isn't what makes you a good firefighter
Mhm.
or whatever it is, right? Like you want both of those, but I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a shitty personality, but if you're a good firefighter like that, that could be the matter of life and death. Obviously, having both was probably the better thing, but
Right. But it's like you're a good dude, but I also think you're a good coach. Like
thanks, man.
there's a reason I go to your classes. Like I have 4 days off and I have a whole day where I could go whenever the fuck I want. Like there's a reason I go to your class because I like the way that, and it's nothing against any other coach. Like everybody's got something good, but I like for my personality, I feel like I gain from you what I need to gain for the workout. And I feel like you're always a coach where I feel comfortable talking to you and I can be like, hey, like how could I like make this workout more applicable to me because like this weight's too much, but like I can do these
Sure.
other, movements. And you're like, oh yeah, do it like this. But I've been to
Yeah.
other CrossFit gyms and other places where like I'm like, are you the coach or like what's going on here? Because you put on a whiteboard and said we're gonna start in 10 minutes and like I don't know what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, that's what I like about Double Edge is, and I hope Derek listens to this because I am definitely a member that like I have told millions of people about this gym. Like it's
Really.
just good. It's expensive, but you guys have good equipment. It's clean, but the coaching staff and the programming, like it's something I've never experienced before. I've literally gone home and written down on a notebook the warm ups that you guys have us do so that I can bring it to work and do them when I'm there because it's just the way you guys do stuff. Like I feel better during the workout. And I've done
Hell
this.
yeah, man.
I've tried to do the science with it. I've gone to the gym at work and tried to like just warm up the way I think I would do it and do the workout. And I'm like, why the fuck do I feel so weak? Why am I struggling so much? And then I go do a workout at Double Edge and I'm like, wow, my back doesn't hurt now. I felt like I
Right on.
burned through the workout really quick.
That's awesome, dude. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, that's
Well,
badass. And I think he'll listen to this, so he'll appreciate that, and I'll tell him too.
good.
But yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, yeah, you pay for a premium at a CrossFit gym in general, but like we're a little bit higher priced, but also you kind of get what you pay for at a CrossFit gym. And honestly, like we're only higher priced, um, like if you don't know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Like it sounds like I mean, it could be expensive, right? You can't say it's all relative, but when you compare it to other CrossFit gyms, like in San Francisco or in, I don't know, big cities, like a lot of the California gyms, you have to pay probably like more than what we already charge. Let's say they charge you 189. I've seen gyms that are 189 or $200. You can only go 3 days a week.
Wow.
Literally only can, like, you can't, like, that's not the minimum that you can go or whatever it is, or it's literally the maximum, and you have to go 3 days a week. If you go over that, or you're not allowed to, they limit your like your open gym time. So like you go 3 days a week, um, and one of those days could be open gym, but you can't add it on top of that, and you're
Yeah.
paying for the same price. And it's a smaller facility. They only have one gym. They have two showers. It's not as nice. The equipment's not as nice. Whatever it is. So once, I always tell people, we're so spoiled at Double Edge, and you don't realize it until you drop in somewhere else, or
Oh,
you like if you move and you're like, holy fuck, I have to pay this much for my membership now when I was only paying 189 at Double Edge or whatever whatever membership I was paying.
yeah.
It's just different. But
Well, and just like I went to this gym in Sacramento because my girlfriend's family lives in Lincoln, so we're
mhm.
always down over the hill, right? And I'm like, fuck, I need to find a gym I can go to. So like I've been trying different boxes out to see what works for me. But like I went to this one gym and it was almost the same thing. I'm like, so what's your monthly rates? And they're like, oh, it's 240. I'm like,
Oh fuck.
okay. And it was like half of what Double Edge Midtown size was. And like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like it's not like a brand thing, but like I like going to Double Edge and having rogue fucking bars and
For sure.
having nice, like high quality equipment. And like they don't have any of that. And like I did the workout of the day with them and I'm like, hey, so like I'm guessing this is RX, but like I'm not gonna deadlift 405 for 30 reps. Like that ain't happening. And he's like, okay, like I don't I'm like, so do you have like a scale for me or like what do I do? Like that's what I love about double edge is there's the build welded warrior. And
Mm-hmm.
what's cool about it is like, and that's like another reason I like doing yours, like, and I see people do it and like I love that I can come in and be like, okay, I can do toast bar, that's the welded, and I can do strict handstand push-ups, that's warrior, but I am not going to be able to power clean 225, so I'm going to do the build weight. But by mix matching what I can do, like I'm still pushing myself and getting a
Yeah.
good look at it. That scaling factor you guys have is huge.
Yeah. Which is, yeah, it's a big thing that we obviously believe in. And exactly, it gives people options, right? And it's because you can kind of mix and match things. And you could technically, you could still do that if like because how CrossFit's like programming belief is like their motto is program for the best, scale for the rest. And
Hmm.
it's usually just one workout or one option of the workout, and that would be RX, right? And that would be
Yeah.
the toes to bar, the strict handstand push-ups, the power cleans at 225 that you're saying. And if you can't do that, well, then you just scale what you can, and then you just do it as scaled. But it gives people a little bit of mixing and matching, and then you can do build RX, and it's like kind of just like a different type of win or a different type of feeling instead of
Hmm.
like, fuck, dude, I go into the gym every day and I scale every single day,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, that it's just different and
Mhm.
gives people options and like yeah, it's just something that's like kind of always been around.
Yeah, but I love
Um,
it. Like, it's fun. Like, that's why I try to get people to do it because it's always a challenge. And
mhm.
that's why I like showing up at the gym. And I've tried lately not even to look at sugar wad, because I'm like, if I look at it, I'm gonna think about it and think I'm gonna fuck up. So I'm just
That's
gonna
right.
go and figure it out when I get there.
That's good,
Uh,
dude. Yeah, don't cherry pick.
yeah, it's I just love going and seeing like how I can get better and push myself. And there's not a day I've left the gym like that didn't suck. I'm like, fuck,
Yep,
that hurt. But I know I'm getting better. Whereas
exactly.
I can't tell you the amount of times I'd go to Anytime Fitness and I'd leave like, did I really do anything for myself or am I just going through the paces?
Yep.
Because you know how it goes. Like you sit down and do incline dumbbell bench, and I'm going to do 4 sets of 12, but in between each set, I'm sitting on my phone for 5 minutes scrolling through Instagram.
Exactly. Yep.
Whereas like during CrossFit, like I'll peek at my phone if we're just doing like, okay, we're gonna squat a 5 by 3 and it's 2 minutes for each set. Like
Yeah.
I'll check my phone, but during an ant or a metcon, like you can't do that. You're just like you're in it to win it the whole time.
Exactly.
And you're
Yeah.
looking over at the guy to your left and the person in front of you, and you're like, fuck, that dude's moving. I gotta pick it up. And then like you're down in a burpee and you're just jumping up to the rig and you hear Cody in the background, like, come on, you can go, 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 go. And you're like, all right, I'm trying.
That's right. Don't
You
be a
go
fucking bitch. Get up. Pick up
exactly.
the bar.
Come on, 30 seconds, you can do it. You're
That's
like,
right, dude.
I'm
Get
moving,
it
I'm moving.
in.
So
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, man. Um, well, fuck, man. That's kind of everything I had on my list.
sweet.
Um, you got anything to close out? Any miscellaneous thoughts? I mean, it's okay if you don't, but I don't know if you
No,
something that popped
yeah,
up or
this was cool. I love podcasts, so I definitely
good, dude.
enjoyed being able to do it. It was
Done
it
your
was
first one now.
yeah, it was cool to like talk about it and kind of sit with my thoughts for a little before we got live to think about what I want to say.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, no, I mean, if anybody's listening and I had any takeaways for this, like whether you want to be a firefighter, you are a firefighter, or you're just somebody who cares about themselves, like you just got to remember, like it's never too late to start. And even if you were somewhere before and you let yourself go, like don't let that define the type of person you are, and don't get discouraged by not making the gains that you thought you would make in 6 months, because I'm not nearly where I want to be, but that's not going to make me stop pushing. Like I still really want to get to, a point where I'm like, wow, like I'm an athlete again, like
Yeah.
I'm super strong, I'm super fit. But yeah, no, I mean, it was, like I said, it's never too late to start. It's good to do. And, I think everybody's got a little bit of, drive in them to get it done. And you just got to find what makes you want to be better and then take that and don't let go of it.
That's good advice. That applies to anything too, right? Like start
100%.
today. Start
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Like
Doesn't
your 30 days are going to go by no matter what. Time's going to go by no matter what. Where are you going to be 30 days from now?
Yeah, I always tell guys at work that don't want to work out. I'm like, you don't have to go do this balls to the wall CrossFit workout I'm going to do. Go for a walk,
Yep.
go do some air squats, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups. You can't do a pull-up, that's fine. We'll get a band for you. Like, just go move your body and do something, because like in my mind, and I think this is probably the best way to close it out, I get a front row seat into seeing what a lot of Americans are. And it's sad. It's a lot of obesity. It's a lot of decrepitness, like injuries, not taking care of yourself. So when you see that, it makes you not want to end up like that. Like, people need to remember anything could happen to you. So like, just don't make yourself a victim in the world. Like, give yourself the best chance to succeed in life when you're older. And that starts with taking care of your body. Everything's good in moderation. I'm not saying you have to go work out twice a day, but get up and move. It's Sunday, and as soon as we're done here, I'm probably going to take the dog for a walk and go for a run after. Like,
There you go.
just go do something like that. And you don't have to be super strict. Like, I'm drinking a beer. It's good.
That's right, dude.
I'll drink a beer here and there, like, but I'm
Of course,
learning that
dude.
moderation's good. When you go to the store to buy groceries, buy whole foods. Don't buy a bunch of processed shit. Just try to make one small change in every aspect of your life and do it every day. And before you know it, it's your normal, and you're a way better version of yourself than you were 3 months ago.
Boom, mic drop. That's
Exactly.
the ripple effect right there, bro. Awesome, guys. Thanks for listening to episode 6, Code Unlocked. Oh, Sam, where can people find you, dude? Like, what do you have? I mean, you have
uh,
Instagram. I mean, obviously you have Instagram, but yeah,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, if anybody's listening that's at Double Edge and you're interested in doing fire, or you just want to talk, like, I probably have a resting bitch face most of the time because I don't know a lot of people, but I try to be a very open person. So don't be afraid to come up and say what up. And then, yeah, just Instagram. My name's let me look here, Sammy Watts _. So
Sammy Watts
that's all.
underscore.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. Episode 6, Code Unlocked. Go give Sam a follow. Say what's up, and we'll see you on the next one. Sam, thanks for hanging with me, bro. It's been
Thanks,
a
man.
treat.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Of course, too. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.